The highway to Hollywood is not for the faint of heart. The journey began with the dreaded AP exams, followed by our hero getting the dreaded COVID and being out for a week. But he was not, in fact, out for the count, for you see, he was able to do his internship from home. How were you able to do that, Matthew?
Well, I appreciate you asking that, mysterious disembodied voice, because you see, my internship was actually really awesome because I was able to do a lot of it from home. And the reason why I was able to do that was because I'm working with In Studio, which is an acting program where they bring in actors, they do scenes, and they send it off to things like colleges and stuff like that. And basically for the scenes from their actors, they take those scenes directly from certain movies and TV shows. So what I was able to do that first week when I had COVID and I was stuck at home was I was actually able to watch movies. And I know that's a very difficult task, very hard thing to do. But I would just sit down at my computer and watch movies, and I would use these worksheets that were given to me, and I would write down all of the scenes that I thought that their actors could do. Now, I was instructed to watch certain movies and TV shows, mainly ones that had teenage characters in it, because that's the main demographic of In Studios, teenagers. So any scenes with like a teenager talking to a teenager, I would take that if it was long enough, and long enough is usually around like 30-40 seconds. Anything longer than that's great. But yeah, I would just take those scenes, write down, okay, here's the timestamp and here's what's happening in this scene. And then I would just take a picture and send it to Director Matthews, who's an awesome guy. He's been very, very helpful with helping me do this senior internship and have an awesome time doing it. And so basically the first two things that I watched were Unpregnant and 8th Grade, which are both teen-centric movies. And what I noticed was Unpregnant was kind of like a car ride with two teenagers, so there was a lot of one-on-one conversations between them, so I was able to get a lot of stuff from that, a lot of really good one-on-one acting. So I was, my sheet was pretty full by the end of it. And then my second thing that I watched was 8th Grade, and that was interesting because it was a lot of it, or a good amount of the movie at least, is monologues, and so there's a lot of just one person acting, which is really cool. And what I've noticed from In Studio, from later on, I'll get to it, but a lot of their acting is just one person. So I thought overall maybe 8th Grade might have been more successful in finding scenes that their actors can really use for when they only have one actor.
Our hero was finally able to go into the studio starting with week 2. Matthew, tell us what you did at the studio instead of lying at home like the lazy slug that you are.
Okay, first off, that was unnecessarily mean. But you are right in the fact that I was doing a lot the second week, which was basically me going into the studio and learning how everything works, how the directors want everything to be set up. I got to help them set up their stuff. I got to help operate cameras, where I learned how to position actors right, record them, finish the recording, and do a playback so the directors could give their actors feedback. And I just learned a lot about, I felt like I learned a lot about acting, because the directors would give actors tips where like the actors would give a performance and I was like, oh man, that's perfect. And then the directors would just kind of tear into them, like in a friendly enough way, but like giving them valid criticism that I didn't see. I also learned that being a director is a lot of repetition. It's a lot of the same take over and over and over again, And I mean, if you're not doing anything, sometimes that can get to me at least, it can get pretty boring quickly. I got to film some behind the scenes stuff for them, which was really cool. And I mean, just being there and just soaking up all of the amazing directing and acting, it was just such a privilege being there. But yeah, so what I want to do now is I've compiled a bunch of clips of actors from Director Mark's class. These are adult actors. These people some of them have been to very prominent sets, and they're really good at what they do. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play their clips, and I'm going to critique it using what I learned from Director Mark, who was in charge of the adult program, and or at least that specific adult group. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now, and that's how I'm going to end this thing off. Okay, so to give context for the scene, the actor has just quit their job. They were very angry at their boss, and they're kind of having a fresh new start. And they're supposed to have this manic energy because they're only running on 3 hours of sleep. So every critique I make is based on this assumption. So let's go ahead and start it off.
And action.
And that's when he said it. And I just stopped and turned around. I was shocked, like somebody would actually say that to me.
Lots of pancakes, you're gonna burn them.
In order for this line to work, the actor needs to be looking away from the pancakes while the line is being said. That way, their attention is being drawn back to the pancakes. In this instance, it doesn't work since he's already looking right at them.
Yeah. So obviously he felt guilty about crossing the line, And then right then and there I said, I'm done. And I went straight to my office and I packed everything up. Oh shoot, I forgot my plant. Screw it, I'm gonna have to go back in the office and get it tomorrow. Hey, the pancakes are almost done.
The off-camera reader didn't respond quickly enough with their line, so it kind of interrupts the flow of the scene.
I feel like a new person. Granted, I only got 3 hours of sleep, but I feel great. I should have made bacon.
So this scene is supposed to be about 40 seconds. This actor was at 42 seconds, which is just about perfect. And he hit all of his lines. Maybe could have had a little bit more manic energy, but did a great job overall with this scene. So now we're going to analyze another amazing actor, and I just want to point out at the very beginning of the scene, what he is doing is called improv surfing, which is where, because since his scene starts in the middle of a sentence, he adds on a few lines right before that in order for it to seem more natural. So yeah, that's what he's doing, and let's just hop right into it.
He was talking about. That's crazy. He called me a milk dud head, right? And I stopped. I was like, scared. I turned around, like I left my phone locked in my baby mama's house because I couldn't believe nobody talked to me like that, man. I still thought
Why the pancakes gonna burn the man?
Shoot, my phone. And yo, it was obvious though. He knew he made a mistake and he crossed the line, because he dropped the shoulder. Then he gave one of these looks like. I was like, man, you know what?
Even though that was pretty much my favorite acting bit of the night, it was improv that costed him time, and he was about 15 seconds over the limit, which is just a little bit too long. So if he had cut that bit, then he would have been closer to where he needed to be.
I'm going to my office and I packed up everything, and I mean everything. You know what I mean? Oh crap! I left my plant. You know what? I go back and get fried. This kid ain't gonna do nothing. You know what? Hey, these pancakes almost done.
Okay.
You know what, y'all? I feel like a new person. Like, I only got 3 hours of sleep, but I feel great. Like Tony Tiger, feel great. You know what I'm saying? You want some eggs too?
Yeah.
Okay, so bacon. I'm all starved.
Yeah.
Again, the improv at the end costed him in time, which was really important to Director Mark, was not going over. He even had a timer. But basically, other than going over the time limit, there wasn't really much I could critique with this. I mean, his energy was perfect. His line delivery was superb. I mean, it was just amazing. And we just need to get this guy on Hollywood as soon as possible.
I learned a lot in this internship. I learned a lot about certain acting lingo like improv surfing and buttons, and I learned a lot about what directors do. I learned that they do a lot of scenes over and over and over again, which was actually pretty comforting to me, considering that I thought about going into directing for just a little bit for college, but after doing this, I'm glad that I went into writing, because I mean, I have so much respect for those directors. Being able to do the same scene over and over and over again for days, I mean, it's a lot of work. So this internship has been really fun. I'm really happy that I did it. I thank all the directors that have helped me, Director Chris, Director Lee, Director Mark, and Director Matthews. And I mean, thank you guys for watching.